All right, the calendar has flipped. It's now into July. We told you about a couple of really, really big commitments that the Noles picked up on Saturday. They've got a chance starting this week to really send things to the moon, as the kids say these days. Excuse the background, excuse the scenery, on vacation, but there's no sleeping, there's no rest. Wanted to get you guys this info just really as quickly as we could. Not going to do a deep dive on any of this. If you want more information, join our Discord. We shout that out all the time, but we really have been talking nonstop recruiting in there kind of all week. I'll link it in the description, and it'll be the first comment. So join us if you want to get more info there. Florida State has a bunch of targets announcing and going to be telling everyone where they're going to college this week. Ton of targets set to announce. We're going to run down the list, tell you what days they're looking at, what you should potentially expect, and what will probably happen with these targets, hopefully commits, here in the near future. Let's jump right into it. All right, it's Monday. If you're watching this, unless maybe you're catching it Tuesday morning, happy 4th of July if you didn't watch this when it came out. But today is Monday, and tomorrow is the 4th of July. We've got a couple of guys who are set to announce on the 4th of July. Let's start with Elijah Moore. Elijah is a 4-star wide receiver. He's 6'4", 190 pounds. Ohio State was thought to be the leader here for a long time until he took his visit to Florida State. Came out and publicly said that Florida State was in the lead for him. He is a huge, huge kid. Big-time Keon Coleman vibes, big Kelvin Benjamin vibes. Maybe we'll see how he develops and how he's able to kind of grow and fill out into his body when he gets to college. But I think the Noles are in great, great shape here. I think that Brian Hartline knows wide receivers very, very well. Probably the best wide receiver coach and recruiter in the country. Kid was locked in. Think all accounts had him going to Ohio State until he took his FSU visit, and I think the Noles put themselves in a great spot to land him. We'll see what he does. July 4th is his announcement, so that's tomorrow. Again, unless you're watching this on Independence Day, which if you are, happy 4th of July to you. Speaking of happy 4th of July, here's a kid with a presidential name, James Madison. Now, this one could be impacted by that Moore commitment, and we'll tell you why so in just a moment. But Madison is a 6'3", 190-pound wide receiver, similar to Moore. He's a 4-star as well from St. Thomas Aquinas down there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I think the Noles have led here for a while. A lot of people ask if this kid is a take, considering the fact that it seems like Moore is a take as well. And I've been told pretty explicitly, yes, James Madison is a take for the Seminoles. Now, I've had a lot of confidence that James Madison would end up in Tallahassee, but I will say Missouri seems to be making a pretty late push here. There also seems to be some chatter just around, will he commit to an already very loaded Florida State wide receiver room and recruiting class? I'm not sure. I expect to have a little bit better idea this afternoon, this evening. Again, another plug, but go check out the Discord. I am on this recruitment pretty heavily, and as I know more, I will certainly update there. As of the morning right now, I may be leaning away from Florida State, but I don't think anything's a done deal just yet. When I recorded this on Sunday evening outside of my hotel room here in Charleston. So I think the Noles are still in a good spot, but I do think Missouri's charging late, and we'll see kind of how it shakes out. I expect the Noles to go 1 for 2 in these wide receivers at worst. There's also a chance they pull both of them in tomorrow on July 4th. Next up is Darius Red Morgan. He has announced just this weekend that he will be also committing on July 4th. I see this as a 3-team battle. We'll talk about those 3 teams in just a second. He is a 6', 170-pound, 3-star safety. Again, out of Auburn's backyard, Phoenix, Alabama. He also attends Central, which is where one Cam Coleman, a 5-star wide receiver, also attends. I think Florida State's doing good things with Cam. I don't think that they're in the lead there. I think they're probably top 3, but I do think they're in the lead for Red Morgan. I think they've done a good job there. I think it's going to come down to Miami, Florida State, and Auburn. I think right now, if I had to call it, I'd say the Noles probably take it home. This is one that I want to monitor through the rest of the day and weekend. Miami has been embarrassed on the trail lately, losing a couple of commits this weekend, losing another couple. 5-star, 1 committed, 1 projected elsewhere. Miami in shambles. they could do something very, very desperate, go crazy with NIL. Who knows? I want to keep an eye on this one. I don't know that it's over just yet. All 4 crystal balls on 247 are pointed toward him attending Florida State and picking the Noles. So keep it tuned here. Again, we'll update you in the Discord as news comes out and as things start to change. If they do, right now, I still feel really good about the Seminoles, but this is one to keep your eye on. Not sure exactly how it pans out, and that's another good reason to join us in the Discord.
All right, if you've been a Seminole fan for the last 35 years, you have certainly stopped by or shopped online at garnetandgold.com. We are so appreciative of their partnership and their continued support of not only this channel, but FSU athletics and FSU's NIL efforts. And if you're shopping anywhere else, you need to fix those shopping habits. Go to garnetandgold.com. Whether you're looking for the latest jerseys, Florida State got a jersey refresh this year, you're looking for NIL stuff, you're looking for Columbia, you're looking for the Nike coaches polo, if you're looking for the Nike shoes that come out of here, whatever you need, garnetandgold.com has it. You can save 15% by using our code at checkout. That's NOSLAW, NOSLAW, all one word, at checkout for 15% off. Appreciate Garnet and Gold for their support and all that they do for not only us, but for FSU.
Next up is Kylan Fox. He's a 4-star tight end that has long been projected to the Seminoles. And I don't necessarily know that this is going to go the Seminoles' way. He is going to announce on July 4th. There seems to be some chatter around some things kind of going wrong on his official visit. Don't want to speak life into too many rumors right now, but I do believe, based on the folks that I've talked with, he is still a take by this staff. I don't think that Florida State dropped him. I don't think that Florida State just said, like, hey, we don't want you or anything like that. I do believe that Kylan Fox thinks that he should be and could be a number 1. And that's just not possible with Landon Thomas already in the fold for Florida State, the number 1 tight end in the country. And so I think another school has offered Kylan that chance to be number 1, that being UCF. I don't think Fox is a can't-miss prospect. I think that if he was, Florida State obviously beats UCF out in a head-to-head battle just about any time they want to. I also think that when you look at his offer list, you're looking at teams like Georgia Tech, UCF. I think Florida State wins those battles when they want to. And so I think that this is one that the Noles, I wouldn't say are okay with letting get away, but I do think they understand it. If a kid wants to be a number 1 and you can't offer him that, he's got to move on, and you've got to move on too. Florida State's got the number 1 tight end in the country already committed. So I think they're in good shape at that position. Not really concerned too much here. I also think when you look at his offer list and you look at who else is offered, if you were losing this kid to a Miami or a Florida or a team like that, you'd be like, man, I don't know. When you lose him to UCF or Georgia Tech, I think you kind of understand maybe you over-offered there just a bit, and you just can't invest an insane amount of resources into a recruitment when that's the talent that you're bringing in. No slight to the kid. Hope him the absolute best. If he does end up picking Florida State, I'm sure that we'll enjoy him for years. But developmental piece, a prospect that I don't think is going to make an immediate impact anywhere. And so we'll see who he picks. But I do think it's probably UCF at this point. All right, so those are the kids that are announcing on July 4th. There are a few that maybe are up in the air. 5-star offensive tackle, the number 1 offensive tackle in the country, according to On3, Jonathan Daniels. There's some speculation that he could be announcing on July 4th. The date may have some significance for him. It also sounds like he wants to get things wrapped up and done sooner rather than later. There's a whole bunch of speculation that he will commit this week. It would not shock me at all if Jonathan Daniels did commit to the Seminoles this week. It also wouldn't shock me if Jonathan Daniels committed on July 4th. That would be at least 3 commitments there on that date for the Noles, in my opinion. We'll see how that shakes out. We'll see if he ends up pulling the trigger or not. But I think Jonathan Daniels is one to look out for. Obviously, out of the Panhandle, LSU, Kentucky, Georgia, all involved here, made his top 4. You would think that the Noles are in a really, really good spot here. He came out publicly named Florida State his leader a few months ago. I think the Seminoles are in a great, great spot for Jonathan Daniels. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll see if he commits on July 4th or not. Next up, Mekhi Danzey. He is a local Tallahassee product, a 2-way athlete, both offense and defense. He's being recruited as a running back, but does have some experience playing safety as well. Really good job by Florida State to kind of go all in here and really make him feel coveted He visited Florida a couple of times. He did visit Miami. I know that those programs gave him a serious look, and I know he gave them a serious look as well. I think the Noles just were too much in this one, and I expect the Noles to bring home this commitment. Some speculation, some smoke that he could wrap things up this week. Sounded like he might take this into a little closer to the season, maybe late July, August, somewhere around there. Some speculation that he could wrap things up and shut it all down. I think the Noles are in a great spot if he does that this week. I think the Noles are probably in a great spot no matter when he commits, but I do think that that's one that could happen sooner rather than later. All right, Jalewis Solomon is a kid that I want to talk about just real quick. He tweeted this week, "I'll be home soon." Now, maybe he's just on a trip. Maybe there's some other stuff going on. But it sounds like, as the fireworks are going off behind me, and they're probably going to go off tomorrow for the Seminoles, it sounds like Florida State's trending very well here. I know Auburn's making a late push for Jalewis Solomon, but his tweet was just cryptic enough that we wanted to mention him. He's a four-star athlete, going to play defensive back for the Seminoles. I think he's being recruited kind of as a man corner. I think he could play corner or safety. He's got some good length, but he's also really quick. We'll see kind of where he's positioned if he does make it onto campus for Florida State. But I think Jalewis Solomon is another name to just kind of keep an eye out. I don't have any kind of a date from him. There's been no announcement as to when he could commit, but I do think that there's one to watch out for, a kid that could be picking Florida State somewhat soon. And then, of course, Florida State could get a massive cherry on top of all of these kids when Charles Lester commits at the very end of the month. He's a five-star cornerback out of Sarasota, Florida. We've done multiple videos on him, so I don't need to run down the whole list, but I do still feel the Noles are trending incredibly well. Somebody's asked who the number 2 behind Florida State is, and I really don't believe there is one. He also visited Colorado, also visited Alabama, didn't end up taking his Georgia visit. I would have said Georgia was number 2, but I'm just not sure that I could still have them at number 2 with them not getting a visit. I think it's Florida State 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think he's going to be a Nole. We'll see what happens. Not trying to put the ultimate jinx on. I know that's happened to us before, but I do think the Noles are in a great position for Charles Lester. I think he's going to be the cherry on top of 6 or 7 commitments that the Noles get this month. You could also be looking at a kid in Kevin Levy. I think you could also be looking at Ty Hilton, an offensive lineman. So the commitments are nowhere close to done. July is going to be a busy month. Make sure that you're locked in with the channel and that you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. If you want more recruiting info and you want up-to-the-minute updates, join our Discord. Again, free info in there. There is a paid chat or two that you may enjoy, but join the Discord so you can get more info. If you're watching this video on Monday, things have probably already changed from the beginning of the video that I told you. Make sure that you join so that you can get that info as quickly as we can get it out to you. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to get caught up on the 2 commitments that Florida State had over the weekend, you can click either one of them on the screen right now to check them out.